I've completed every single player SBC on FIFA 23 with an RTG, and here are my thoughts. Thiago Silva was a very, very expensive SBC at the start of the game, 150,000 coins. The fact that he could be lengthy with an anchor chemistry style made him so much more viable. He is a little bit on the small side at 6 foot. However, he has played so many games in my club. He's still in my starting 11, and he is one of the best centre-backs that I have used on FIFA 23. Radamel Falcao is an unbelievably clinical striker, but the rest of his game was just not good enough. He struggled to break away from the opponents, and he just didn't win the headers for me. He has the power header trait, so I was excited to use him for that, but I just couldn't get him to win the headers. Due to his chemistry, he's really difficult to link as well. I'd rather just go for like Gold Depay, for example. Ones to watch Messi has been an absolutely incredible card for me. 106,000 coins for the SBC, and he is a lengthy beast. His passing is a little bit subpar, but with the upgrade that he has had, there is no reason why this man cannot still be used as a holding DM. I run a powerhouse chemistry style to get the increase on passing and defensive stats, but he is well worth putting into your team. Less said about Dodo, the better. The guy stinks and should just be avoided at all costs. Nicholas Fulkrug, if I've said that right, he's lengthy and he can head a ball. That's all we need to know. One to watch Sterling has already had an upgrade on his card, but it just doesn't perform to the way that I would want it to. On old gen, I think he'll be really good because he can dribble and he can run. But on new gen, he has the explosive run type that makes him really struggle to break away from the opponent. I think another upgrade or two might help increase that shooting and passing, because we used a Deadeye chemistry style on him to increase that already. I play him on right wing, trying to find the Travella shots, but overall, he's a little bit meh. Let me know what you think to him though, because I know some people are a massive fan. Player Moments Danjuma was an absolute steal at 45,000 coins. He is a great starter or a super sub. I run a Hawk on him to make him controlled on next gen version of FIFA. And he can be played anywhere in the attack. Striker, right wing, whatever, you name it. I am a massive fan of this card. If you've still got him lying around in the club, chuck him on your bench. He will certainly do a job. Road to the knockout, Savio played a full weekend league for me and helped us get 17-3 after a viewer recommended us to give him a good run out. There isn't anything special about this card. He just does a job. He can cross, he can kind of shoot, he can pass. That's about it, really. If he gets a couple upgrades, then yes, he will be more viable. Probably one of my favorite SBCs on FIFA 23 has been Benassa. With the upgrades possibly coming his way, he is one of the best centre mids I have used on FIFA 23. He's unbelievable at getting forward, and his outside of the foot shot is unbelievable. You can green time it with him. I run a Hawk chemistry style to increase that shooting, and I just look to Travella over and over and over again. His passing is good, and he's very solid on the ball. Massive fan of this card. Rulebreaker Favourer looked to be a super sub when I first saw the SBC, but after playing with him, I realized how cracked he was. He's got so good, well-rounded stats. The outside of the foot shot trait, again, being lethal coming in from that left wing. Don't underestimate how strong he is as well with the physicality stats. But I think the best thing about him is that his pace, dribbling, shooting, and passing is so good, he can be used off the bench with that zero chemistry. Angel Di Maria came in at 32,000 coins. And in all honesty, the only good thing about this card was the 5-star skill moves and the outside of the foot shot trait. I think he's much better in center attacking mid than on the wing, but he's probably not going to be used. Dejan Kulusevski was pricey at 160,000 coins, and he is, well, he's just a little bit underwhelming. He's not really quick enough to beat a defender out wide, but the physicality can help him in that battle. I do think center attacking mid is his best position, so he can distribute the play, find the outside of the boot shot. And I do think as well, if he gets an upgrade or two, he will be more viable. But yeah, he's just one of them. Was very expensive. David Alaba was one for the rich players, but he's an unbelievable card. An anchor chemistry style makes him lengthy, and he is just everywhere. He can be played in DM, fullback, centre-back, you name it. We took the one with less physicality to have that lengthy. He's one of my favourite SBCs so far. With an Austrian manager, though, you do kind of need that because that'll help you get the full chemistry with a Real Madrid player and one extra player from La Liga. Player Moments Alex Telles was expensive when he came out. And a lot of people looked at the low defensive work rates and thought, no, we're going to avoid that. I was surprised by this card. The defensive work rates don't seem to be an issue. He just seems to be there where he needs to be. And he's one of the best fullbacks I've used at getting forward. And I like to use my fullbacks in that way. If you run a 3 at the back or 5 at the back formation, Alex Telles was definitely one that you could have done and had a lot of success with. You do need an anchor chemistry style though, because his strength is a little bit low and that will help increase that. Kim Man-Jae was cheap and cheerful. He had a lengthy period at the start of the game in my team next to Skriniar. The links made him difficult to link though, which is one of the things that put a lot of people off. If you're a Serie A player, then yes, you probably did this SBC. Tomori was a lot more expensive when that was the first kind of on the cards. I just think now, though, there's much better options. He's usable to an extent, but there are better options out there. The Leeds duo of Rodrigo and Harrison have been nothing but ass for me. I'm sorry, Leeds fans, but they really weren't that great. Rodrigo was the better of the pair, but again, you're looking at icon swaps and objectives here for these two. João Mario is actually a very, very well-rounded card, and he's still available due to his insane expiry date. There's no harm in doing him if Benfica do advance through to the knockouts. He will be useful for icon swap teams and so on, but I wouldn't be putting this in your team for champs teams, for example. Raum is a solid fullback who does get the job done. For Bundesliga players, he offers maybe a better link than what Davies would, and he can be converted to a left mid, which is a Brucey bonus. An anchor chemistry style will take him up to 90 defending and 80 physicality, but do be careful of the backstick crosses because that is somewhere that he does struggle, but he certainly is a solid fullback. Player of the month, Rashford. He has a soft spot for me, always. Due to his height, the way he can use his 5-star skill moves, and it's just pure pace, he's a super sub at just all the time. I love him for that reason. However, we've been starting him. He's been playing in the elite division and he's still been bagging goals. If you did this SBC and you're really struggling for subs, chuck him on there. He'll come on. He can go up front, go on the wing, wherever. I actually feel like this guy is a fraud. Everyone got excited by Gakpo when his SBC got released due to the insane value. However, he feels like a truck in game. His finishing is woeful and he just can't do anything. I think for players on a lower budget, I'm talking very low here, if you completed him and you need a super sub, he can go there. But I actually just leave this card to just rot in my club now. On new gen, the quicker Becker was the better option to take because he's lengthy by default and can cause havoc off the bench for those over-the-top through balls. On old gen, the version that has better dribbling would have been better. He is just kind of one of them though, because the low aggression means that he's not really that great in the air, so you are just looking for those over-the-top through balls to him. Arnautovic and Poch were very good value. I think Arnautovic can be started or played off the bench, and Poch was even better value than Kim, for example, which we spoke about earlier on. I am a massive fan of both of these cards, but mainly, again, just for your Serie A players. The absolute GOAT, Lionel Messi, received the Player of the Month, which I think was decent value because of the return packs that you get from him. His road to the knockout is going to be so out of reach for people due to tradable coins being quite hard to come by. The low work rates put me off at first on the gold card, but there's just something special about him. He works this year regardless of that work rates. The biggest downfall to this card is the fact that he can only be played cam, which makes him a little bit more difficult to link, but he's outside the foot trait, the ability to finesse, pass, just everything. He is phenomenal. Rulebreaker Insigne was cheap and cheerful. He literally is a super sub at best though. For how bad dribbling can be, he does feel really good on the ball. His shooting and passing stats coming off the bench with 0 chem was something that really helped him. He wasn't a must-do, but with like duplicate untradeable fodder, I didn't see any reason why someone wouldn't want to do him. Old gen players will get more success out of him though than new gen, just because of the way that new gen's pace works. Valverde looks like he is going to get special card after special card this year. Think back to Nkunku on FIFA 22. That's going to be Valverde. He is unbelievable. He's one of the best centre mids on the game. In the middle of the park, he's up and down, absolutely no questions asked. He might get another player of the month in the next month or two as well. I go for an anchor chemistry style. I don't think you need an architect to make him lengthy. I think controlled is good enough, and getting the pace, defensive, and physicality boost is more than capable with Valverde. Let me know what you think to him, because I know so many people have been very happy with this card. Right, a lot of you do also like when we put this into a tier list, so we have done exactly that. In our S tier, we've got Thiago, Silva, Messi, the new Chiesa that came out, which we didn't discuss in the one-to-one, but I do think he's a very good valued SBC. Danjuma, Favor, Valverde, and Alaba. Some of them have been very expensive, right? But for me, I have enjoyed using them massively. In the A tier, we have Sterling, Telles, Benassa, Rashford, Raul, Messi, Insigne, Gakpo, Arnautovic, and Posh. You've got a variety of expensive and cheap SBCs with all enjoyable cards. And then we do have in the B tier Falcao, João Mario, Kim Man-jae, Savio, Becker, and Rodrigo. In our C tier, Di Maria, Willock, Kulusevski, Fulgrug, Harrison, Suarez, and Mbemba. We didn't speak about them either. I'll be honest, they just really weren't that great for me. And then our D tier Dodo. I used him a lot throughout this Champions weekend just gone, and he was okay, but for the price of him and the lack of composure, his height, he really isn't a desirable SBC. If you are after some tactics to go with any of these players that we have mentioned today, go and check out this tactics video here, which I'm sure will work for everyone.